Ireland, England at the Aviva.
Yeah.
So you reckon Marcus Smith at 10 then?
Yeah, the good news for England is Alex Mitchell's back fit. So hopefully he'll be starting. He's been announced in the squad. We missed him in the autumn, just in terms of his pace around the ball and, getting the ball away from breakdowns. And he, the way he plays, can work in tandem with a Marcus Smith. There's some massive decisions for Steve to make around selection.
Let's go through them, Andrew. Come
Yes.
on, let's go through the team. Let's have a guess.
Let's
we
do
are
that.
experts.
Okay. Loose head props, easy. Ellis Gench. I think he starts. James?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. Hooker's a big one.
Hooker. But I think that front row, I think Genji needs to start seeing the best of him, which I think we will. You know how much we love Ellis Genji and the power that he's got, but he needs to bring that. He's going to be up against Porter. Obviously, Porter on the other side wearing one. I know he's not going to be up against him in the scrum, but he's the lead in loose head, a few frailties in the scrum. But Genji's, he's got something.
He's got the opportunity. He's not coming up against Tyg Furlong, so he's coming up against my mate Finlay Beelan more than likely. And so, he's got to show dominance at scrum time and try and get the upper hand there. Hooker, who are you going to hooker, James?
Theo Dan.
See, I'd like to see that. I don't think Steve will. I'd like to see Theo Dan start.
Do you think he'll go Luke Cowan-Sickie?
I think he's going the sick note, yeah. Luke Cowan-Sickie. Sick note as in Sickie, not he's always got a sick note. That's a different kind of bit of abuse. But I think he'll go Luke Cowan-Dickie, who's got all the experience. But Theo Dan is certainly... I'd love to see him start Theo Dan, but I just don't think
might go
Steve
with Theo Dan because of the relationship with Marrow. I'm just thinking a combination as well with the line out, which is going to be massive against Ireland, whose line out hasn't been amazing. But yeah, we'll keep going. So we beg to differ on that one.
Yeah, tighter prop, Will Stewart.
Yeah, I agree with what you said in last week's episode about him being on form during the autumn. He has. I thought that's the best he's played. He looked really good. Given a clear game plan of how they want him to play, needs to carry, be more physical in and around the park. I know in your mind you're thinking scrum as well, but I think it's more than that now with a Genji and a Will Stewart.
Yeah, 100%. Second rows are interesting. Obviously, Marrow picks himself. The big one for me is who partners Marrow relative to form, fitness, and what's in the tank. I don't think you can start George Martin and Ollie Chesham together. Because there's not enough miles in the tank, I don't think. They've both been out injured. Ollie Chesham, obviously very long term, has just come back and, Leicester took 80 against Toulouse. Same with George Martin. He's missed a few games.
With George Martin Goode, England are good when he plays well. Physically, carrying, breakdown, slows it down, monster chopper. So they need to get the best version of him out there. And
Are you picking in the row then? Who are you picking in the row?
George Martin and Mara Toju, with the understanding that George Martin needs a fucking big game.
Yeah, I hear you, and I'm with you on that. Back row is really interesting. Do you go risk averse or do you back people on tip-top form? And the two people on tip-top form that haven't had really any or much game time under Steve, in fact, any probably, Ted Hill and Tom Willis, which I think you pick one of those to start. I think Ben Earl gets in the squad in the starting team with his international background and his ability and all that stuff. Although he's not playing to the top of his game, he is a bit of a test match animal at times, I think. So I'm going Ted Hill at 6. I'm going Ben Earl at 8. And I'm going Curry at 7.
I reckon he mixes it up.
Really?
I don't think they've got the balance of the back row right. I'm going to just throw it out there. Ollie Chesham at 6, Tom Curry at 7, and Tom Willis at 8.
I'd like to see Willis get a go, but I don't think you can pick Chesham on one game for Leicester, going to Ireland away. If it's Italy away or Italy at home, it's a different kettle of fish. But I don't think you can pick Chesham at 6. I know he loves Chesham, and Chesham is a very good player. He's played one game in months and months and months and months.
So is Dan Sheehan.
Yeah. No, I know. We'll get onto Ireland in a bit, but yeah, that's it. So I don't think you play Martin and Chesham together for this game because of the miles in the tank. Ted Hill's been fucking unbelievable for Bath.
Very true.
He's a good line-out option. He's fit, he's carrying, he's quick, he's everything you want. He's hard as you like. Jawline.
Well, on this will come down to
anyone.
Yeah, the jawline's important. You can never see Calum Doris. It's always under the strap on, the strap. But I think with like a Ted Hill and a Tom Willis, this will come to, and we know what Steve Borthwick thinks with some of his comments about the Prem. I've heard him say other stuff around it not being at the level of Test match, obviously. But with a Ted Hill and a Tom Willis, with the confidence that Steve has in the Prem. And that'll be the question mark, whether he thinks the level of the Prem and Tom Willis carving up in the Champions Cup, not as much in the Champions Cup, but more so in the Prem, whether that's at the level of international rugby. Because if it is, you bang him in.
Yeah.
How does Surrey's balance playing Bernal and Tom Willis together?
Well, on their own scrum, Bernal packs down at 8 and picks up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what counts against Tom Willis. Right. In this selection, Tom Willis sometimes, or a lot of the time, is at 6, and Bernal's so explosive off the back. Mm-hmm. But then, it's not all just about picking off the base of a scrum, is it? So,
yeah. Well, they go more traditional at Saracens, which I like. So they go like a Bernal at like a 7, out and out 7. Like Goode said with the scrum, you've got Tom Willis, a big carrier at 8, and then they go for a taller, rangier 6, whether
which
or not
is
Theo
Steve
McFarlane,
that's the way Steve thinks as well. So I think Jim will be right. He'll go with Chesham. I'm just making the argument that I don't think Chesham, with one game under his belt, which is an 80-point hiding by Toulouse, there's enough miles in the tank to go and play against the likes of Van der Fleer, against the likes of Caelan Doris, and potentially Omani or whoever plays 6 for him.
And that pack, Andrew, of course, in any forwards, backs, however you make up a team, but more so because it's the first game, the selection's got to be on because of what's coming from Ireland up front. So a lot of them players are in form. Like I think we've mentioned Calum Doris every single week. If you look at Josh Van der Fleer, you look at Ty Byrne, Dan Sheehan's now
that's
back.
The thing.
Scored,
they might go Ty Byrne at 6, right? And the Ireland, thinking about it, they probably will. They'll probably go Ty Byrne at 6, Van der Fleer at 7, Calum Doris at 8. 3 probably of the most informed back row players in the Champions Cup and in the URC and across any club game in the Six Nations kind of countries. And then you've got McCarthy and James Ryan in the second row. So you've got 5 primed Test match animals, right? And that's why I'm saying about the Chesham selection.
Tall as well. Old school thinking. Tall, line out, rangy.
But also with that, they are tall, line out, rangy, but they're also great athletes around the park as well, aren't they?
Oh, it's moved on a lot since just being tall, banging with the line out.
And that's what Steve's got to get the balance with. The challenge that's coming, is Sheehan going to start for them at hooker? He scored a worldie, but I don't think you start him straight in for England Ireland for the same reasons that I don't think you start Ollie Chesham. But what are they doing in their front row? But whatever you pick in their back 5 of the scrum, Ireland, it is hard. It is outstanding in terms of ball carrying, physicality. Their line out is an issue, Ireland's, isn't it, Jim? But maybe with Ty Byrne at 6, who, friend of the show, he knows and we knows, he prefers to play at 6, doesn't he? That's it's a massive threat for England in terms of the power and the ability that Ireland pack's got. It's interesting that Leinster team that started, so you got James Lowe starting.
Yeah, that was, That's made me thought about James Lowe. I was like, well, does that mean that he ain't going to be starting? Because Andy Farrell notoriously would rest Leinster players. So you wonder how that balance and relationship is between Leinster and Ireland.
Yeah, but he's coming back from injury, isn't he, as well?
He's been out for a long time.
Yeah, so he looked pretty decent. He could go straight into the team.
Yeah.
So many questions. Pack against pack, it's a massidd battle. And
well, it's just getting out the blocks. As we know, I know it's a cliche saying, but because if we're picking this as the game of the weekend, for example, which it is.
What about the Waterspoon game?
Yeah, I'll be watching it, Andrew.
Scotland,
I'll be watching it. But everyone's talking about this game for Ireland, aren't they? For Ireland and England, because of one. Again, we're talking about the pack, but who's going to be playing 10 for Ireland? Who's going to be playing 10 for England?
Yeah,
and there's so many high-profile questions and conversations to be had around it. It's exciting. It's bloody exciting.
It's ridiculously good, isn't it?
I think the big miss for Ireland, though, is Tadhg Furlong, isn't it? Is that an area you think England will really try and attack Ireland there in the scrum?
Yeah, and Jim will give a bit more nous on this than a fly-off that looks the same shape as the old school props. But Porter's, I love Andrew Porter, friend of the show, as is everyone. But he's been pinged a fair bit at times, hasn't he, for going on the angle. Finlay Bealham, if he starts at tight head, isn't Tadhg Furlong. He's still a damn good player. But that's an area where you've got to see Genji try and win the man test. And it is an area of pressure for that Ireland could be under, and they have been previously. And we've seen Porter just continue to do the same things. And thoughts on it, Jim? You know a bit more about scrums than me. Just fucking bend over and push, lads.
Just bend over, push, and bend at the knees, squeeze, breathe. And I don't think the scrum is a massive factor for England. I know, yes, they'll have the mindset to do that, and that's what they want to do. But I don't look at this England team and think, "Holy shit!"
Oh no,
scrummagers.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yes, I think you can think, "Oh, we want to go into the game and target the scrum because Ireland might have a weakness around that, or their line out, which is crazy to think of Paul O'Connell that has been a weakness for them. Set piece naturally is going to come into it, but I think that the game's won around the kicking game. Like, it's the boring parts of that, discipline, breakdown, and I don't think the scrum is, and I might be eating my hat next week when we talk about it, that England win this game because they dominated them at scrum. I don't think it comes into it. I think you've got two teams with Ireland, the way that they're made up, the fact that they haven't got Tadhg Furlong, that they probably have Finlay Bealham. If Dan Sheehan does play back from injury, he's probably not going to be wanting to be in the scrum for as long as possible. They're going to want the ball in and out. And that's, I think both teams will want to have that mindset, as will the referees, as will 95% of fans as well. They won't want that scrum contest. So a lot of it will come down to weather as well.
Yeah, but in Rob's defence, as in the question, if you're looking for areas of weakness, that might be an area that England could try and target. Not that they're, Oxenchae and, Malcolm Marks and whoever else at tight end.
Or the French.
All the French going after them. It's where are the chinks in Ireland's armour, and potentially you could look at that one. Should we go into the backs then, James? What are you picking back line-wise?
I picked Ben Spencer, Finn Smith.
Well, the scrum half debate's interesting. Jim wants to start Ben Spencer on form, and he is on form. But I think that if Alex Mitchell's fit, you pick Alex Mitchell every day of the week. And I'm having Ben Spencer on the bench. But if Alex Mitchell isn't fit, Ben Spencer jumps straight to the front of that start.
Dominated him in the final, Ben Spencer.
Who won?
Against Mitchell last year.
Who won? Who won, though?
Very true.
Yeah, but there's obviously, like we said it last week, didn't they? And it's great to see Ben Spencer back in the squad. And, I know Jack Van Portfleet's out injured as well. It was ludicrous that Ben Spencer wasn't in the initial squad, right? But he's in it now, and hopefully he gets game time. But Alex Mitchell is the man, in my opinion, in possession of that 9 jersey. And is the one that needs to start and set the tone. Ball away from breakdown, speed of ruck, all that stuff that plays into his hands and his attacking threats as well.
With 10, I'd actually be shocked. Everything that I've said, I'd be shocked if he didn't pick Marcus Smith at 10.
Yeah. Imagine the uproar.
Well, I don't forget the uproar, just from an out-and-out coaching decision. I just can't see it now. When I actually really think about it, and if I have to put my name with some credibility to us analysing the game of the weekend, for me to actually say, I think he'll pick Finn Smith, which again, for some people, wouldn't be a ludicrous thing to say. He's the second 10 in the squad. But actually, when you think about it, you think about Marcus Smith dropping that goal at Twickenham last year, how well he played in the autumn for England and was
England's
moved
best player when he was on.
He was, yeah, there you go. So it'd be actually crazy for me to say that. So
don't be crazy.
Marcus Smith.
Don't be so fucking crazy.
You crazy mofo. Okay, I think he goes for at 10. I think he put a Rafi Quirky at 10.
And then centres, I think he'll go Slade and Lawrence.
I don't know if I think he will, but that didn't look right during the autumn.
Well, I
know Slade was coming back from injury.
Yeah,
but
and that's a defensive system thing as well, right? We saw Slade flying out the line against Australia and whatever at the end. you control the defensive system, and Slade is a class player. But who else are you starting there? You could put Dingwall in there. You could move Freeman into the centres, but actually, so who else should you go? You got Oscar Bumbeard to go in there, or Oscar Beard, I should say. Realistically, I think those two on experience away from home against Ireland, you're picking Slade and Lawrence. Whether it works or has worked, I think that's what he goes for.
Mm. England win at the weekend. Freddie Stewart gets man of the match from 15.
Is that your prediction?
That's my prediction.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
Because I think that's how England win it. I think they win it airily and physically and in what some people might see as a boring style of play. All of them things we've kind of outlined just now around the scrum, around the set piece, around a very simple game plan. And I think Freddie Stewart fits into that. We're massive Freddie Stewart fans, but I think with the way that he's been playing and how they want to get him into the game and how good he is under the high ball, even against Ireland, whoever they pick in their back three, who are all very, very good, whether or not it's Mack or James Lowe or Hugo Keenan or Nash, they're world-class under the high ball. But I think Freddie Stewart's a level, or I know that Freddie Stewart's just a slight level above when it comes to that aerial contest, which is where if England have looked at everything that's wrong with how they've played defensively and they've got everything right, then that kind of kicking battle becomes everything in this game and the small crumbs that come off the back of it.
Yeah, I mean, the interesting one, we're talking about the debate on who's going to get picked for England, the whole 10 debate in Ireland. Crowley's done as much as he can from a performance perspective himself, but I think they start Prendergast at 10.
I do as well.
Playing with Bundy Aki and Gary Ringrose, not Gary Ringpeace, Gary Ringrose. And that, there's a lot of experience in Bundy Aki and Ringrose. And then you've got, I think Prendergast is the man now, right?
This is when we'll know how good he is this weekend. Yeah. If they do pick him at 10, this is the game for Sam Prendergast to be like, I am your guy. At home against England, who are a little bit unknown, but albeit very, very good. And you're surrounded by Jameson Gibson-Park, who's on fire. And you've got Bundy Aki, who's a fucking warrior. And Ringrose, whoever's in and around him, you've got a pack that's on form going forward. This is the game for Sam Prendergast where it's not come off the hour, come off the man, but really cements his position as starting 10 for Ireland. And Jack Crowley will come on and he's a brilliant player as well, but Ireland are in a good position now because after Johnny Sexton, who's going to play 10? Ross Byrne, Harry Byrne, Billy Burns,
all the Burns.
Whoever it is, Sam Prendergast, this lad's going to come through in the next couple of years, or Jack Crowley's the man who's got the jersey. Frawley as well. Has fucking won them the game in South Africa. Where's he in all this? I know
he's in the squad.
Yeah, I feel for Frawley a little bit. A couple of mistakes, weren't there? Like big mistakes in the autumn. But that's the level that Ireland are. Like they are as high performing team as you get, and them small errors in a team like Ireland are big errors. And as much as I feel for Frawley, it feels like them two big errors might have cost him his starting position or being in the even in the 23.
Yeah, you just said that you think England are going to win and Freddie Stewart's getting man of the match, though, and then you're saying how great Ireland are. Was it an if? I thought that was your prediction.
But this is why it is the game of the weekend, because Ireland, where you actually outline their team and the quality that they've got and how good Leinster have been, and the fact that with Ireland as well, they haven't been at their very best.
Fallible. They're fallible, James. Fallible.
I don't even know what fallible means, but they're fallible. Is that the same as flappable?
Something like that, yeah.
Leinster unbeaten, though.
Yeah.
Fucking hell, Leinster look good, mate. Geordie Barrett
he's
as
a
well.
Bench player.
Geordie Barrett as well. Yeah, like Jim's saying, just ridiculous. But then you look at the names that they had at the weekend and you're thinking it's the Shags. It ain't the Shags. You've got James Lowe, you've got Geordie Barrett, you've got R.G. Snyman. Honestly, I watch him and he's holding the rugby ball like it's a fucking tennis ball and he's just lobbing it wherever he wants, getting blitzed by boys but doesn't even touch the sides. 3 of them tackling him and he's still flying the ball out of, an offload 15 metres or whatever. He's
trying to get him on the live show on Thursday.
Are we getting him?
No, he's going back to South Africa.
Oh, yes, my bro.
Right, that's predictions then. Who wins?
I mean, there's an opportunity for England, right? And the Ireland evolution of how they play, they're kicking a lot more now as well. The aerial battle's going to be huge. I just look across that Ireland team at home. They've lost once in 3 years.
Ireland by 8.
That's the All Blacks. Yeah. I'm going a bit more, and it hurts me to say this. I think England have got a chance, but I'm going to go Ireland by 15. Oh my God, that hurts to say that.
That's a hammering in a Six Nations game.
Yeah.
You can't turn around and say you think England have got a chance, and then turn around and say off the bat Ireland by 15.
Well, if Ireland get a couple sent off, I like Steve Borthwick coming out and saying, what about what Leinster do at the breakdown, and what about what Ireland do at the breakdown, and putting pressure on the ref already.
Who is the ref?
Ben O'Keefe, James, is the referee. And Steve Borthwick is already in his mind. Well, I want to know about what the referee will be looking at around the breakdown, considering how Ireland attacked the breakdown, sometimes illegally, but also Leinster, and they get away with it. So, Mr. O'Keefe, please, can you have a look at this area of the game?
I think the referee is key in this as well. And I don't think I've ever said that. But I think with what Steve's saying around the breakdown and what Ireland...
He's got a point.
...notoriously get away with.
He's been listening to Mac.
All Blacks of years. Yes, he's been listening to Mac. Look at you.
Mac's done his own team a disservice.
Yeah, I was going to come back and fuck you.
He's fucked himself.
But you're right. I think the referee, if it is Ben O'Keefe... Is it Ben O'Keefe?
It is Ben O'Keefe,
sure. There we go.
Yeah, 100%.
And watching Ben O'Keefe at the weekend, I did wonder what he was doing in Gloucester. He must have been thinking, what the hell am I doing in Gloucester?
Hell of a tan on him, though.
Looks great. Has he had his lid done or not? I think he has.
No, a little grey streak in his hair.
Has.
See his little grey streak in his hair as well.
Man from my own heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you reckon then, Jim? What's the score?
I don't know what the score is. I don't like doing the score. But are you pushing me on a score? We put a bet on. I can't put a bet on. But
you've given the man of the match and you're not going to give us a score.
Yeah. Well, he said England. He's flip-flopped from England are going to win and Freddie Stewart's getting man of the match to now Ireland by 8, and I don't want to give a scoreline.
I'm going to say 28-20.
That's just so you could do an easy 8-point victory so it fits in, right?
Well, I was trying to work out the 8s. Yeah, you're right.
I
had to do something that was a 0, something that had an 8 in it because I couldn't work out.
Yeah. I'm going 32-17 to Ireland, and I'm hoping that every time we've done this podcast over the years, James, start of the Six Nations, I'm like, England are going to do this. And then sometimes it comes out, but more often than not, it's not so much. So if I'm pessimistic, and the fact that we're going to Dublin on Thursday, I can get some friends there by saying I'm going to win. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. But I think Ireland they've got a lot of questions to answer, and people are asking questions about them now. It's kind of like I think it'll be a fuck you performance. Look at us, we're back, we're proper. And they are back-to-back reigning Six Nations champions. They're going for a three-peat. France might have a fair bit to say about it with Dupont and his mates, but there's a lot of pressure on Ireland. Expectations from England fans are tough place, not potentially expecting to win, but I'm going Ireland by 15. That hurts. But it might get me a few pints in Dublin on Thursday night. Pod.
Rugby Pod.